Hello, we're mathematicians. Today we're going to be looking at 5.6, dividing decimals. And we are now looking at decimals by decimals, okay? So, our first problem is going to be 72 hundredths divided by 8 hundredths. Now, one of the things about dividing by decimals is that you do not want to actually have your divisor be a decimal. So you're going to make it a whole number. But we need to remember that whatever we do to our divisor, we do to our dividend. So the way in which we make our divisor a whole number is by multiplying it by powers of 10, which, as we know from previous lessons, means we move our decimal. So all we're going to do is we're going to move our decimal until we have a whole number. So in this case, we're going to move it once and then twice so that I just am dividing by 8, okay? Now, whatever I do to my divisor, I have to do to my dividend. So I moved my decimal twice to the right, so I have to move my decimal twice to the right. So 1, 2. So that means I'm really just solving 72 divided by 8. So what is 72 divided by 8? Well, if I think to my basic facts, I'm going to know that it is 9. So my answer to the problem, 72 hundredths divided by 8 hundredths, is just 9. Okay? So let's look at a different problem. If we have, go ahead and erase this one. If we are doing 56 hundredths divided by 7 tenths, what we're going to do is make our divisor a whole number. Okay, so if we write this as another way to write a division problem, it would look like this. So if we want our 7 tenths to be a whole number, we have to move our decimal point one spot, which means in our dividend, we're going to move it one time. So then we have 56 divided by 7, or 5 6/10 divided by 7. But 7 does not go into the 5. I just bring my decimal point up like before. But 7 goes into 56 8 times. So I get 8 tenths. So 56 hundredths divided by 7 tenths equals 8 tenths. Let's look at one more problem. We have 3 72 hundredths divided by 1 2 tenths. So again, we're going to move our decimal point so that we have a whole number in our divisor. So it's here, we're going to move it here. One time. So that means we're going to move it one time in our dividend. So from here to here is one time. So if we rewrite the problem, we now have 37 2 tenths divided by 12. Okay? So now, how many times does 12 go into 37? Well, it goes into 37 3 times, because it doesn't go into the 3. 3 times 12 is 36. Subtract. 37 minus 36 is 1. We bring down the 2. 12 goes into 12 one time. 1 times 12 is 12. Subtract, we get 0. We have no more numbers, so we're done dividing. And we bring up our decimal. So we get 3 1 tenth. So that means that 3 72 hundredths divided by 1 2 tenths is 3 1 tenth. So So the important thing to remember with this is to move your decimal point in your divisor, and then move it however many times you moved it in your divisor in your dividend. And then you just multiply or dividing like we did when we divided decimals by whole numbers. And so really you want to make all problems a decimal divided by a whole number. We don't want to divide by a decimal. So hopefully this makes sense. I'm going to leave you with one problem to solve. And then I would like it if you rate your level of understanding using FISTA 5.